when Kobe passed, there was a lot of things that hit me the night before we made that vet appointment for the emergency vet. Because let me just run through a little thing here about what happened. Yes, he had an appointment scheduled for Wednesday at 2 o'clock. But when I seen he was acting differently, wanting to hide behind Grandma's chair, wanting to not eat, wanting to not drink, the compassionate, humane part of me wanted to fix that. The night before I made that call, I was doing the dishes. Kobe passed on our utility room floor. And Sam knew it. That night he went in and he sat nose to nose with Kobe. And he knew it. He knew it before anybody else did. And I felt like he was giving me a sign, and I remember saying to Sammy, "No, you don't get to do this to me too." It was hard to keep myself together. I am only strong, but I am a human. Please don't forget that. I am one tough cookie, but I am also a woman who feels so deeply with her heart, who loves so deeply with her heart. Don't forget that. So when I talked to Jill on the phone, she says, "Donna, are you sure," or was it Jill? Was Cheryl first. "Are you sure that you want to do this emergency ER appointment?" I said, "He's not acting like himself. I'm scared, yes, but I knew I wouldn't be able to go, so I said my mom and my grandpa was going to be able to go." Well, they came back from the visitation and funeral, and my mom, she doesn't know Matt Toon that well. She lives in Louisville, Illinois, and she hasn't lived here for years. So, to her credit, she asked if I would like to go with them, and I said more than anything. And she goes, "Well, they were, you just see if you can. I won't go into too many details." So I was blessed enough to go to the appointment, and we never in a million years thought it was going to come to that. But when they told us that the blood work found out that his liver was not functioning, his kidneys were shut down, and his blood rate was off the chart of heart, what could you do? I want to go back in time to the moment that he first came to our house. Remember, Kobe was still here then. And the very first night that we got Sam, Grandpa had picked me up from work, brought me home, and on the way home he said, "Don't say a word to your grandma." I said, "Why?" He said, "Sammy looks just like Morris did," and it was maybe about a week after Morris had passed. And I said, "No." And by golly, they looked alike, but they didn't have the same attitudes. And Sam was so sweet and so affectionate. Long hair, beautiful hair. And I decided his first night here, I should say, that I wasn't going to go out to eat, that I was going to stay and get to know Sam. While they went out to eat, and of course my favorite show was on at the time. It made Kobe not too happy that night because I had Sam on my lap most of the time. Grandpa and Grandma went out to McDonald's at that time. And they sat and they had their coffee and would eat out there and visit with people. And throughout the years, Sam, he was always buddy-buddy with Kobe. And they would always be just inseparable almost. And then, of course, we lost Kobe. But Kobe always felt like he was his friend. And that is something that Sam made a lot of friends. We worried about him getting outdoors because he originally came from Canine Estates. And we didn't want him to get outdoors. There was this one time I can recall that we got home, and I can remember seeing somebody had let him outdoors. And we were so worried about that, but he had walked behind the garage, and I just walked behind him and picked him up by the neck and held him and brought him into the house. He was such a sweet kitty. And I can remember every heartbreak that I went through. When we would have the first time we brought Peanut in here, and they were not buddy-buddy, but they tolerated each other. And Sam didn't like sharing Grandpa with Peanut, that's for sure. And, because before we had Peanut, Sam was Grandpa's cat. And when we got Peanut, Peanut became Grandpa's dog, and Sam was more or less Grandma's and my cat. And, Grandma would always put him on her lap and just, try to show me how to properly pet him, which was with the part of her arthritic hand, and put her knuckles down the side. And those 2 pictures I shared were those pictures of her instructing me how to properly pet him. So I knew when we made that choice that that's where he would be at. He would be with Grandma. Oh, Lord. It hurts a lot. He would come in my room, and I would get so mad at him for jumping up on my work table and clearing it off. But now I would give anything if he could do that again. He would jump up on the bed, and he'd prance and curl up. I would take a shower, and he would open the door, no joke, and he would try to get in the shower. He was the most beloved cat there ever was. He meant a lot. He brought so much comfort and joy, all in one. Sam, you are missed greatly. And I'm so sorry. I'd do anything to bring you back. The only peace and comfort that I find is those memories that we shared. After we lost Grandma, I can remember I have this picture on my desk. And I said, she's no longer with us, but you are, and I'm so grateful. It just seems like a bad nightmare, it really does. This is the last video for tonight. I just want you all to know Sam was one of a kind. And he is missed. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers of comfort. And I hope he's resting with Grandma and Dad Mike and everybody up there that knew him, because he was a blessing and very missed. Love you, Sam. Rest in peace.